Hey kids, it's Mrs. Dean. I thought today we could do an at-home art lesson. We're going to be doing a study in one-point perspective, which is a drawing technique that shows how things appear to get smaller as they get farther away, and they go towards a vanishing point. That's the point where you can no longer see them. And it makes your drawings look a little bit more 3D and realistic. So all we're gonna need today to do this underwater aquarium, and here's my example, is you'll need a blank piece of paper. And if you don't have one, I sent some in that packet that I mailed yesterday. And so if you just wait a couple of days, it should arrive. You're gonna need a ruler, and if you don't have a ruler, and I couldn't even find mine, you can take a piece of paper and fold it in half and then fold it in half again, and it'll give you a nice straight edge, and that's all you're gonna need. And you'll need a pencil, and then towards the end, you'll need something to color with. Okay? All right, let's get started. The first thing you need to do when you are drawing a one-point perspective is you need to pick a spot somewhere towards the middle of your page. And I'm gonna do this in pen so that you can see it, but when you're doing this at home, I would start with pencil and then you can trace it with either a black marker or pen or colored pencil or crayon afterwards. Then you take your ruler or your homemade ruler. Anything would work with a straight edge. And you draw a line from the corners of your page to that point. You're gonna end up with kind of a wonky looking X. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make the floor in our underwater aquarium. So you're gonna draw 3 lines going back towards this point. This is called the vanishing point. It's the point where you can no longer see what's happening back there. It's too far away from you. And you're gonna try and space these 3 lines somewhat evenly, but it's not a big deal if they're not perfect. And then that gives me my 4 rows for my tiles. Now, when we make the tiles, we're gonna be drawing parallel lines. And if you remember from math, parallel lines are 2 lines that will never intersect or they'll never meet. Think railroad tracks. Now, when you're doing one-point perspective, it's important to remember that things that are farther away from you are going to appear smaller. So you want to make the tiles that are at the far end be the smallest ones, and the ones that are at the bottom of the page are going to be closer to you, so they're going to need to appear larger. So we will achieve that by drawing one line And you might want to line up your ruler from end to end. And then you're going to slide it down, and you want to make sure that between the vanishing point and your first line, your next line is a little bit farther away. See how from here to there, it's larger than from there to there? That makes these tiles look bigger than those tiles. And you're going to do the same thing for the next line. And there you go. You have your floor tiles. And the next thing, we're going to be drawing the support beams for these glass panels on the aquarium. And all you do is, I'm going to turn this way. You find the edge of wherever your tile is, and we're going to be making lines that go up and down instead of side to side. Now, if you spaced out your floor tiles the right way, you won't have to worry about spacing out these support beams, because they will automatically appear like they're getting smaller as they go farther away from you. These are going to be parallel lines again, so lines that are equal distance apart and that won't be intersecting. And you do the same thing on the other side. Now, one of the reasons I'm telling you to do this first in pencil is you might end up with a line that's really crooked, and pencil's a whole lot easier to erase than marker. I also suggest that when you're doing this in pencil, you do it with a very gentle line first. That way, if you have to erase anything, it's easier. Okay? Now I have my wall supports. The final thing I'm going to draw is I'm going to draw the arched ceiling. Because if you've ever been to one of these underwater aquarium exhibits, the whole top is glass or plexi, and it's a little bit arched so that you can see whatever's above you. And so you're just going to draw an arch. Now, if you saw that, mine wasn't perfect, so I'm just gonna fix it like that. Easy. Now that you have it all drawn, I suggest you go ahead and trace it and then erase any pencil marks that you had. And I'm going to show you really quickly how to do the floor. Now, you don't have to do this. You can do whatever you want. But if you want to do a checkerboard pattern, you're going to color in every other tile. Now, I would start the farthest away that you can. And you're going to color one, skip one, and then color the next one. Now, on the next row of tiles, you're going to do the opposite. So I colored the first one. I'm going to skip the first one on this row, and I'm going to color the second one. skip the third, and then color the fourth. Get the idea? And then you do the opposite on this one. You're gonna color the first, skip the second, color the third. So this row would be exactly like the first row you did. And then you keep alternating depending on how many tiles you have. Checkerboard. Pretty easy. Now the final thing you need to do is you need to draw in your marine life. Anything that you could possibly see underwater. You could draw a shark, you could draw a jellyfish, a dolphin, a whale, whatever you want. It's up to you. And then color it. You can use paints, colored pencils, crayons, markers, whatever you have at home. And when you're all done, if you can take a picture of it and post it in our Google Classroom, I would love to see them. Here's my finished one. But you guys are all so creative, I bet you can do even cooler underwater art. Okay? I hope you had fun. I hope this killed a little bit of the boredom for you. And I will hopefully see you soon. Bye, kids.